There are times when BPD symptoms can go dormant. That means they're quiet, you don't see them, you don't see the acting out. They could have been raging for months, acting out, being extremely difficult, and then all of a sudden, quiet, peaceful, easy, normal. Just the kind of energy that you want to have with them, and it can almost seem like they don't have borderline personality at all. It seems like I had a psychology professor to once tell me that borderline meant they kind of go in and out of, I don't want to say the word. It starts with a C and it ends with a Y. They kind of go in and out of their symptoms, to say it in a nicer way, or they go in and out of what could be perceived as normalcy to just losing it, acting out. So there are times when a borderline that you know can go into a dormant state. And there could be so many reasons for this. But number one, when they're in that dormant state, enjoy it. But there could be multiple reasons. It could be because they have shifted their number one person, what they call their favorite person, into someone else. So they're experiencing their intensity with that person. It could be that they're in the romantic phase, the beginning stages where everything is euphoric and it feels great. Like, wow, finally somebody's going to meet my needs. And so when they're interacting with you, they're not doing all that acting out because they've got their favorite person that they're honed in on and that they're doing that with. Or they could be experiencing turbulence with that person, but they're acting out all of that stuff with them and being very kind and sweet to you. And the thing about borderlines is sometimes they can make certain people look really bad to other people. Like when they're really trying to attach to you, they might publicly shame you, try to make you look bad or feel bad or like you're a terrible person because they are splitting. They're thinking black and white thinking, like you are the most horrible person I've ever met, or you're the most amazing person that I've ever met. And because they want to push other people away from you, they don't want anybody to take you away from them because they don't want you to abandon them. So they could badmouth you to other people, make you look like a horrible, terrible person to other people, and that is not fair. And if you've ever been done like that, you know how horrible and rotten it can feel. But yeah, so they can definitely go into states where they are very calm, kind, and you start questioning yourself like, wait, this person used to be yelling at me and manipulating and doing all kinds of things, digging through my things without my permission, just doing all kinds of stuff. And now they're being very, very nice. It could also be because you've worked out a lot of the junk with them, and you've also set up boundaries, and you have consistently refused to indulge in certain behaviors. You have been like a brick wall that they're running up against. And they run up against it so many times that they've worked out a lot of their junk. And now they understand that you've taught them, this is my pattern, this is how I'm doing things. I'm not going along with that. You're sending me emails. Somebody was telling me about a borderline that would suddenly send them emails saying things that they never agreed to. Like, you told me that you were going to buy 15 cans of tuna and you didn't do it. And it's like, wait a minute, I never made that agreement. So it would be like a lot of made up things to act out, to fight the person, to set them up, just stuff like that. So you could be the type of person that you have trained this borderline on what you will not tolerate, but that is enormous work. It's exhausting, it's deflating, it's confusing. You might have had some yelling matches, some disrespectful encounters until they have finally been worn down. Sometimes there could be a faulty stage of peace where they just shift into a new strategy. They'll do that often as well when they're in that acting out stage where you're telling them, hey, stop calling me 50, 100 times a day. Okay, well, I won't call her, but I'll text, or I'll ring her doorbell, or I'll send messages through another person and that person will get back to me. They'll shift strategies so that they can keep doing what it is that you told them not to do. They could also get filled up by family. Let's say you have a college roommate and they go home and visit their parents for the weekend and they come back and they're much kinder, quieter, more docile, easier to get along with. It's because they got filled up with somebody else and that helped them to feel a lot better, a lot fuller, and then they get empty again and then the acting out starts all over again. So it is super challenging to deal with a borderline. They can be really, really tough, but it's lovely when they go into that dormant state with you so that you could have normal interactions. Borderlines must learn to reframe their reality and train themselves that people don't just disappear the way that they think that they are. So they're testing, 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 testing. They can go in and out of rooms. I remember working with a girl who I believed was a borderline, and she was going into rages and acting out, but she was separated from her friends in this setting and the kids that she was hanging out with. And I just let her go in and out of the room and check, recheck, recheck, check. They're still there. They're still there. They're still there. They're still there. Because that's what the problem was. You're in trouble. Now you've been removed from the group because of your acting out. But I need to go back and check, recheck, check, check. See if they're still there. And then some of that energy calmed down. Whereas I think somebody else who was dealing with her would say, absolutely not. You're not walking in and out of this room. You're going to sit down. You're going to be quiet. You're going to do what you're told. But I just let her because I knew she just wants to see, are those people still there? And every time she went to check, guess what? They were still there. So I asked a borderline once, or a former borderline once, do you still have abandonment fears? And she said one day she observed somebody walking out of a room and she noticed that that person didn't have this huge reaction. They were very calm. It didn't bother them. They were like, bye. Don't let the door hit you. And she was like, I want to feel that way. And that's so opposite of how I feel. I feel terrified, worked up, like I'm never going to see that person again. And she said, so she started training herself that they'll be back. It doesn't work that way. Borderlines can have a different set of strategic ways of functioning than your average person. There's usually a motive, a different motive. Even if they are a boss, they may become a boss because they want to make sure that they have plenty of people who will meet their needs if they need to. And so sometimes the strategies and the things that they do can be very unique and different from the average person because they have a different motive in mind. And so sometimes those motives don't make sense to anybody else. And a lot of borderlines can build up shelves of people, which might also cause them to go dormant because they are so scattered, not scattered in a goofy way, but they have so many different people that they're keeping up with that it spreads them thin enough that they're not feeling as needy. So they will build a shelf of people and they will do a lot of great things for those people so that if they are in need, those people will come to their rescue. So that's an example of I'm doing this so that you will be at my beck and call if I need you to be. And they may not be totally consciously aware that they're doing that, but they do. So they will pour into people, buy things for people, help people, do all kinds of things for people so that their needs are being filled. And sometimes that can come from a very genuine place where they want to help people or they want to be there for people or they get something out of pouring into people. They have to learn how to, because it's all energy, in my opinion. All of it is just energy. What are you going to do with this energy? Whether it's nervous energy, calm energy, hyper energy, bored energy, what are you going to do with that energy to keep it balanced and quiet? You have to figure that out. Sometimes you have to train yourself in advance that, you know what, I usually have weekends where I feel very depressed and anxious, so I've got to work on that. I got to work on trying to feel calmer than I actually feel like being. So, what can cause people to go into a dormant state? It could be because they are doing therapy, which I highly recommend, especially dialectical behavior therapy. And it could be challenging to find someone who can do this therapy with you, but we have the internet now. So you can look up videos even on dialectical behavior strategies and really try to do them. Not just I'm faking this because I'm telling my boyfriend that I'm doing this or my girlfriend so that they will stay with me. No, I want you to really do the therapy. Like really try hard. Stabilizing life circumstances can cause their symptoms to go dormant. So positive changes in relationships, work, or living situations can provide a sense of stability, reducing emotional turmoil. Self-care practices, regular self-care, including healthy routines and stress management techniques, can contribute to symptom alleviation. And having a great support system, a strong support network of friends, family, or peer groups can help provide emotional support and reduce feelings of isolation, helping to stabilize moods. Now, with that said, it's important that people with BPD treat these family and friends with respect and understand that they also have problems and they don't have thick defense mechanisms in place. Even though they may feel more stable, they have problems too. So if you are crowding them with all your junk, well, you got to realize they have junk too. But to be fair, borderlines can be incredible friends because they kind of have a bottomless pit type energy at times. So, in other words, they don't fill up as easily, so they can pour into somebody without feeling drained and worn out the way your average person would. It fills them up and can make them feel good. So, they can be good friends. And then another thing that can make BPD symptoms go dormant is increased self-awareness, which can be tricky because who is the self? But even people who are NFs in Myers-Briggs can struggle at times with who am I? Who is the self? So that could be an issue for a borderline. So understand personal triggers and developing skills to manage them can lead to fewer emotional crises. Like I've heard borderline say, I can go from 0 to 100 with my anger. Like somebody could make me so mad that I lose it and I don't even know what I'm saying and I can't control it and I don't even remember what I said. So you have to be aware that you are capable of having a very hot temper and you need to practice working through when you feel intense rage or anger because of something. Like you need to stop yourself because Sometimes the thing that you are raging about is very minute. It's going to be interpreted as like nothing, made up. It's not, it may not make sense. So you need to, before you blow up on someone, you need to calm it down and rethink it. And I can tell you, I mean, I don't know what it's like to feel that level of intensity, but I do know what it feels like to have a hot temper. And of course, we control our hot temper in certain places, like when we're getting paid. But sometimes the people who are closest to us, we feel more comfortable displaying that hot temper. And that's something that I've had to really work on. And it does take work. It takes practice, and I'm not perfect. Sometimes I mess up and I'm too blunt and I say something mean, but it takes work. I'm really proud of the progress that I've personally made with just learning how to kind of sit with that rage a little bit, or that frustration, or that anger, or just, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me be quiet. Let me not engage. Let me not be triggered. Let me just let it go. I don't need their validation, because a lot of times you're looking for validation, or you want to be right. And sometimes, who cares? Doesn't even matter in the big scheme of things. You're arguing over a piece of candy. I mean, just, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we want to see borderlines go into their dormant state more often than not, where they are managing those symptoms. So borderlines, I wanted people to understand that borderlines are not always in a state of freak out, acting out, being difficult, raging. They can shift into other states. And I want them to become more aware of that and enjoy the times when they're not in that state, when they're controlling their temper, when they are being respectful, when they're being kind. Some borderlines can handle having too much to do. Like they need to be busy all the time, have plenty of interactions with different people, different organizations, different things to keep them busy, projects, crafts, cooking, taking walks, just doing things that are positive, but that take up the space for that energy. Because like I said, it's just energy. What are you going to do with that? And they may be able to quiet those symptoms down by staying busy. And I know that's an external way of looking at things. It's not internally driven, but I believe that we have to learn some external things like crocheting and painting a picture and learning how to put outfits together, or just whatever it is. We have to kind of learn how to do those things so that you can challenge yourself to do better and be better. So, hey, beautiful people. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments and what topics you want me to explore next. Your feedback means so much to me. Let's keep this adventure going. Don't break up with me. Be sure to subscribe and like the video. Check out my books on Amazon for insights on enhancing your love life, navigating narcissistic personalities, and exploring the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types. Links are in the description. You're amazing, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.